Hey guys, I'm back. I think in the previous video we looked at some scenes. Oh no, we looked at some characters and what it looks like. So I think for now what I want to do is just go over the full plot of this play, just the layout to see what it looks like and then take it from there. So this is the summary of the whole play that you see in front of you. I'm just going to read through it for you so that you have an idea, and then if you have any questions, you can always ask me or pop me a question on WhatsApp. Okay, so here we go. The summary of the whole play. My Children, My Africa tells the story of the friendship of two young people, Isabel Dyson, note that name, where she's from, she's a privileged white girl, and Tammy Mbikwana, a highly intelligent township youth. Their meeting occurs when a teacher, Mr. M, that's his name, I think he's Mayalatia, help me with that guys, when Mr. M organizes an inter-schools debate between the schools. Isabel and Tammy therefore meet in a debate as equals in terms of both race and gender. This is important as Fugard, who's the author, sees orderly ruled government debate as a rehearsal for a properly democratic South Africa in the future. Mr. M initiates a scheme whereby Isabel and Tammy represent, let's see if I can get this bigger for you guys. Smaller, let's go back there. I'm really, really sorry about that. I'm just gonna go this way. That's where I want to be. Okay, fine. Oh, that's a summary of something else that's on the summary that we actually want. Here's the one. Thank you. Let's grab this and put you out of the way. Okay, fine. So Mr. M initiates a scheme whereby Isabel and Tammy represent their schools. Zolile High, that's where Tammy is from, and Kambedu Girls High, in a literary quiz competition. Mr. M orders Tammy to be a part of it. Tammy resents his teacher's old-fashioned, okay, so Mr. M is old-fashioned and authoritarian attitude. When Isabel challenges Mr. M about this authoritarian approach, he claims that the approach is the tradition of the black education. The teacher must be in complete authority. Teachers are there to teach, he says, and learners to learn. Despite the budding friendship and the many stimulating hours spent with Isabel in preparation for the quiz, Tammy decides he must resign from the team. He resigns because the political tension in the township where he lives has increased. This is why he resigns, if they ask you, because the political tension in the townships has increased. He cannot afford, Tammy is involved with the comrades who are organizing school boycotts. He cannot afford to be seen as someone who is working with whites. Mr. M, the teacher, is bitterly disappointed that Tammy, his favorite learner, is actively involved with politics. His hopes, which include his most gifted learner getting a university scholarship, are dashed. So the teacher wants him to get a university scholarship because he sees his potential. Now, Mr. M has devoted his life to the education of young people. He is determined to liberate their minds despite the presence of the inferior Bantu education system. So you have to be able to explain the Bantu education system a bit. Please don't Google that. He sees someone like Tammy as proof of his success. He confesses that he is a prisoner to hope. Hope is that his learners can have a real future in the land of their birth. But he opposes the violence and the disorder that the comrades are using to oppose the apartheid state. He wants the opposition to be ordered and rational like a debate. Thus, he is seen as a sellout and as an impimpi or traitor to the revolutionary cause. Finally, Mr. M confesses to Tommy that he went to the police and gave them the names of the strangers affected, um, because they of the strangers from the north. He says it was his duty because they started the violence that affected his township and his school. Tommy wants to save his teacher. He tries to persuade Mr. M to leave the township, but it's too late. Mr. M refuses to go. He's necklaced and he dies. His school is burnt down. The police are looking for Tommy, so he decides to go into exile and join the movement fighting apartheid. Therefore, he leaves. Therefore, he leaves. Before he leaves, he meets with Isabel to say goodbye. They both confess their love for Mr. M, and they both mourn his passing. Tommy tells her to go to the top of the Vapatsberg Pass on the way to Craddock, to be near the spirit of Mr. M. This is a special place. When Mr. M first visited this place as a young boy, he decided to dedicate his life to educating young people. So you can say it was at this place, the Vapatsberg on the way to Craddock, that he committed his life to educating young people. This mountain pass is the setting for the final scene of the play. Here, Isabel promises Mr. M that she's going to make her life useful. Her final words are, "The future is still ours, Mr. M." That's absolutely beautiful. Okay, great. Let's quickly see where I was and see if we can get anything from that. But that, in a nutshell, is the summary of the play. Let's just have a look at this. I think then it starts with Act 1, Scene 1. So I think there are 2 acts, and then there's different scenes in them. And this is a summary of what happens in the scenes. Let's go up here. See if we can find any joy. Okay, there we go. Okay, here's scene 1. There's an inter-school debate in number 1. So they need to ask you which classroom. Number 1 classroom in Zolile. Hi. Mr. M rings the school bell and calls for order. Mr. M reads out the definition of a debate from his dictionary. Tommy Mbikwana sums up his argument. Tommy is followed by Isabel Dyson from Kamdaboo Girls High. Isabel wins the debate 24 votes to 17. Those are important things to note. Mr. M says he is proud of the audience for listening intelligently. Isabel and Tommy exchange information about their family backgrounds. And then Tommy makes it clear that Mr. M does not rule his life. There we go. Let me just see if there's anything specifically that we need to note on this page. Mr. M reminds everyone, let's go back here. Mr. M reminds everyone that the motion for the debate is that there should be different educational syllabuses for both. That's the motion. That there should be different educational syllabuses for boys and girls. He calls for a vote. There are 17 people who support the motion. 24 oppose it. Thus, Isabel's side wins the debate. Tommy congratulates her on an excellent concluding statement. Okay, I think that about in a nutshell is what it says. If you need any further information, please read on this page or go to the page in your booklet to double check that. Okay, great. Let's quickly have a look. Sorry about that. At scene 2, what it says. Then also, please do yourself a favor. You can go through these list of questions. Where are we? After every scene, you'll find test yourself over here. Act 1, Scene 1, and it gives you a list of questions to answer. So thank you so much. Please do that for yourself. I'll be with you in a minute. I'm just going back to where I think we should be. No, I'm going the wrong way. My sincere apologies. Okay, Act 1, Scene 2. Very important information here. Isabel describes the Brakwater location, which is an eyesore compared to the pretty town of Kamdaboo. That's where she lives, and then she refers to Brakwater. It's an eyesore compared to where she lives. She struggles to imagine what it would be like to live in such poverty. Isabel explains, so if they were to ask you to talk about how Isabel felt about Brakwater, this is the way you are going. She struggles to imagine what it would be like to live in such poverty. Isabel explains how she and two of her classmates were invited to Zolile High for an inter-schools debate. Isabel describes this is all that happens in scene 2, so it looks like it's a monologue happening. She's talking to the audience herself. She describes the bare and depressing number 1 classroom. She saw it. Isabel discovers that the learners there are judging her on the basis of total equality. They are not grateful to her for coming to their school. Then Isabel's past contacts with black people have been with servants and employees only. Now she has discovered a whole new world. She finds this confusing but realizes she would like more contact with this world. Okay, great. Excellent. Remember, there's the test yourself answer series. Please go ahead and do that. Take your time, especially if you don't know this drama well. Take your time to read through these notes. It will come back to you in the exam. Okay, the Kamdaboo school principal encourages, and let's go back. She tries to imagine living, this Isabel, living in such poverty and overcrowded pondocks or shacks. She begins to realize how privileged her life is. Kamdaboo school principal encourages Isabel and two of the classmates to go to Zolile High, who invited them to an inter-schools debate. Firstly, they must get the clearance from the police, as there have been some recent unrest in the townships. Isabel describes the uninviting classroom where the debate is to take place. What surprises her is that the black matrix are not grateful to the white girls from the fancy school for coming to their school. For the first time in her life, Isabel realizes that these fellow learners are ready to judge her on the basis of total inequality. Right. Up until now, her relationship with black people have been with her maid, auntie, there we go, and with Samuel, a father's employee. She finds the inter-schools debate experience intensely exciting, challenging, and she finds it very real. She's discovered a whole new world with life of its own, but it is also rather confusing when she realizes how wrong her expectations and her assumptions have been. She feels that she wants such experiences. Okay, then you'll see a list of questions. Why has they been talking about moving the location? What's special about Dyson, the Dyson chemist shop? Why do you have to drive in Bottomveer in Brakwater? Who is Miss Brockway? So please go through Act 1, Scene 2 to get that information. Great. Just see if I have another scene here somewhere. Yes, Scene 3, my goodness. What happens in Scene 3? Mr. M welcomes Isabel to his extended family. Isabel tells him that she would welcome a return visit to his school. Mr. M has arranged for Isabel and Tommy to compete as a team in an intense school's literary quiz. Am I correct? No, women are. Isabel tells him that she would welcome his return to school. Mr. M has arranged for Isabel and Tommy to compete as a team in an inter-schools literary quiz at the Grahamstown Schools Festival. So we know when that happens. Mr. M will be their coach. He says he will order Tommy to take part. Mr. M says respect for authority is an important part of the African culture. They can ask you that too. Mr. M is determined to get a full university scholarship for Tommy. Mr. M and Isabel meet as the scene begins. Soon they are on good terms. Isabel uses his nickname, Mr. M. She invites him to use her first name. Isabel explains how much she enjoyed her visit to the school, blah, blah, blah. And then the story goes on. But let's see what happens just a bit below. Mr. M says that he hates the idea of potential going to waste. So he doesn't want Tommy's potential to go to waste. He therefore initiated the scheme whereby she and Tommy can join forces as an integral team. He has received the go-ahead from Ms. Brockway and Zolile and Kamdabu High Schools. There we go, to enter a combined team composed. Okay, let's see if we can get to scene 4 quickly. Scene 4 of Act 1. Mr. M says he's a black Confucian, a follower of the ancient Chinese philosopher Confucius. Like Confucius, he believes that learning and thought are interdependent. He would love to be like Confucius, who instinctively could do the right thing. Mr. M is 57 and unmarried. He has a small room at Reverend Bopa's house. In the short scene, Mr. M explains that his faith in the power of knowledge comes from his great teacher, the ancient Chinese philosopher. There we go. And then the story goes on. Let's do a summary of scene 5. We're almost there. Please don't forget to go through these list of questions. Just have a peek overview of it. Okay. In scene 5, Mr. M tries to fish for information about Tommy. Isabel tries to persuade Mr. M to be more of a friend to Tommy. Mr. M says he's worried about the dangerous mood in the location. Tommy arrives and they begin with a revision of English 19th century poets. Lord Byron is Tommy's favorite poet because he fought for freedom. So who's Tommy's favorite poet? Lord Byron. And why? Because he fought for freedom. Tommy and Isabel quote the two poems, Sea Fever and Ozymandias. Tommy makes it clear that he supports the freedom struggle. Mr. M says he prefers discussion and lawlessness. So now we're discussing, when we say the two of them are their opposites, but they are now anti each other. So Tommy makes it clear he supports the freedom of the struggle. Mr. M says he prefers discussion and lawlessness lawlessness. Tommy says Mr. M is old-fashioned and out of touch with what is happening with the people. What is happening? People have run out of patience. Isabel tries to persuade Tommy to talk to Mr. M, but Tommy says it is impossible to tell his teacher he has got the wrong ideas. Isabel says they must always be open with each other. There we go. Let's quickly see if there's anything else you need to know here. Yeah, there's scene 6. There's Act 1. This is all information you can definitely read up on. It's always very helpful. Okay, let's look at Act 1, Scene 6. Tommy remembers how the sound of the school bell used to be something wonderful. At the age of 10, Tommy's ambition was to be a doctor so that he could provide his people with free treatment. Now, all Tommy wants is freedom from his people. Tommy can no longer sit in a classroom. Sorry, that's freedom for his people. Tommy can no longer sit in a classroom and listen to teachers. Why don't you ever listen to your teachers, boys and girls? When Tommy hears the school inspector, Mr. Grobler, talking, he thinks of the suffering of his own people. When Tommy hears the school inspector, Dr. Grobler, talking, he thinks of the suffering of his own people. Tommy sees Mr. M's classroom as a trap to catch the minds and souls of the youth. Tommy believes the youth he needs. Tommy believes the youth need to rather learn in the streets and in the location about their own history and heroes. Tommy ends his monologue with a shout of Amanda. Okay, so that's about it for scene one. Okay, so you'll see that this scene consists of a monologue by Tommy. In other words, he talks alone. He remembers the early days of his youth when he was enthusiastic about going to school. He loved the sound of the school bell. Then Tommy reads a composition that he wrote at the age of 10 about the story of his life. His ambition was to score high marks in class. He wanted to become a doctor and provide his family with free treatment. However, now he only desires freedom for his people and not a career for himself. His attitude has changed completely. There we go. I think that's about it. If you want to, we can definitely go over these scenes and then just see what we have in terms of summaries. Yeah, let's quickly see if there's anything else that I need to see. I think we did that one. No. So we could go back here. My apologies, everyone. Did I not put scene? Sure, we have done better than this. In fact, I saw more than that. So I'm double checking. Let's see. Sorry about this. It's the M, there's the characters, blah blah blah, setting. Definitely want to do that plot layout, but I think it's important for us to finish this. Yeah. Yeah. Quickly. Sorry about that, guys. Scene 3, scene 4 and 5. Exposition, there's the plot, there's your settings. I'm looking for did I not scan that page? That is what's bringing me some confusion here. We did characters. Act 2, scene 4 and 5. Okay, fine. Just have a look at this. Yep. Act 2, scene 3. Act 1, scene 6. Act 1, scene 3. Sorry about this. I'm just going through. I'm going to stop this video so that I can just gather myself and then send you the rest of it. Thank you.